Hi there, Chemistry 1012 X00. My name is Mr. Dion, and I just want to make a little video here and welcome you to the spring semester. And I thought what I would do is kind of walk around the course shell on D2L with you for a couple of minutes here and show you a few things. And so the first thing you're going to want to check every day, I would say, would be the announcements. And the first one is just a little welcome to Chemistry 1012 Online. And I'm going to be your instructor for the entire semester. Just so you're aware, Chemistry 1012 X00 is a completely online course. That means we will not be meeting in person. All of the work is completed online, even the lab, and I'll talk more about that in just a second. So, things you should do right away would be to read the syllabus and schedule. I advise you to read this right away and to read it thoroughly. And you definitely want to stay on track with the schedule because we have a lot of due dates for prep quizzes, for the exams, for lab reports, for discussions, etc. So you want to read through the syllabus and schedule very carefully. When you read the syllabus, you're going to find that there's a link in there for a website called Science Interactive. Sometimes it's referred to as HOL or Hands-On Labs. It goes by either name depending on the situation. Anyhow, this is where you're going to create an account and order a lab kit immediately so that you will have it in time to prepare or to complete the first lab. And just so you're wondering, there's no alternative to having the lab kit. Everybody has to order one. However, once you create your account in Science Interactive, following the link that you will find in the syllabus, you'll be able to complete the Getting Started and Laboratory Safety exercises right away. These have to be completed by January 19th, and so you don't need any lab kit to complete those, so you can complete those right away. I just went in and looked this evening, and this is January 16th, and I saw that several students have completed them already, and I'll try to get on to grading those right away. Due on January 18th is going to be the Chapter 10 prep quiz. The prep quizzes are just quizzes to kind of test your knowledge on the material before you really do a deep dive into the material in the chapter. And oftentimes they're just based off of things that you should have already learned in Chemistry 1011 or in a previous course. Then you're going to want to read Chapter 10 in the textbook. And I'll talk more about the textbook in a second, but the textbook is free and online. It's available in the content, and I'll show you how to access that. And then you're going to want to watch the video lectures. The video lectures are optional. As an online instructor through Colorado Online, which is being delivered through the FRCC bannerhead for this course, I am not obligated to post lecture videos. However, I do because I've taught the class in person several times, and I have some videos prepared for a lot of the material in this course. Again, you're not obligated to watch those, but I recommend them. I don't think it's a bad idea to watch those. Then you're going to want to work through the suggested practice problems in the textbook. If you go on the suggested practice problems, you'll notice that I don't have them for every single chapter, but I do for the first few chapters to get us going, and then I'll update that throughout the semester. And then you're going to want to complete the Chapter 10 homework, which is due on January 21st. Okay, so exam 1 is going to open up 10 days from now, and so you want to get on these to-dos right away. So going back to the ideas of where you can find everything. So if you look at the top banner here, first you see Course Home. That's where we are right now. The next icon is Content. I'm going to click on that one right now, and that takes us to this big long list of things that need to be completed and whatnot on the left-hand side here. You'll see the table of contents, and I'm going to click on the syllabus and schedule here, and you can see that I have the syllabus and schedule posted here. It says 2.0. That's just because I made some changes before I uploaded it at the beginning of the semester, and I might even make some changes as things go along. I also have a periodic table here. You're always allowed to bring a periodic table into your exams, and so you can always print this out and bring it into your exams, of course, with nothing written on it. We're going to be using Respondus Lockdown Browser and Respondus Monitor for our exams this semester, and so there's a quick start guide for Respondus and D2L. And so after that, you'll see the link to the textbook. And the textbook that we use is called Deniston. The author is Catherine Deniston. It's the 11th edition. I'm going to click on it here. Go. And you see the course here. It says Chemistry 1012 X00. I'm going to click on Read Now. And here we have it, the cover page of General Organic and Biochemistry. And the author, again, the principal author is Catherine Deniston. So in Chemistry 1011, you would have covered chapters 1 through 9. And so we're going to start with chapter 10. And so what I recommend doing is reading the chapter right away. So you're going to want to read the entire chapter, chapter 10. So you see here strategies for success in organic chemistry, then the chemistry of carbon, then it keeps going on to functional groups, families of organic compounds and whatnot. So there's the functional groups, alkanes. Then after alkanes, it gets into, let me just find it here. So it talks a lot about nomenclature, and of course I cover all these topics in my lecture videos. Cycloalkanes, so you talk about cis and trans isomers, conformations of alkanes and cycloalkanes. We keep going, and then reactions, so that's a big part of organic chemistry, is just learning reactions. And then once you get down past everything at the end, so let me just scroll to the end of the chapter, she always has a chapter map at the end of the chapter, which is really wonderful because students ask me all the time, is there a place where I can find a summary of all this material? And yes, Catherine Deniston always puts a chapter map at the end, which kind of covers everything that's covered in the chapter. Then she always does a little summary of the reactions that are learned. And so on that document that says, these are the suggested practice problems. You can see here 10.9, 10.10. So I didn't write out 10.9, 10.10, 10.11 for everyone. I would just put 9, 10, 11, etc., etc. And if you're wondering, well, where do I find the answers to these questions? I'm not going to go over it right now. But if you look at the very bottom here, you'll see answers to practice problems and answers to odd-numbered questions and problems. So I think that on my document, I only have listed problems that you have the answers to. So let's go back to the course homepage. I'm going to go back into the content. And so now you know where the textbook is. Now here's that document of the suggested practice problems. So if I click on that, hopefully it's going to work. So you see here in chapter 10, I recommend doing question 10.3, 10.5, 10.6, 10.7, 8, 15, 17. So I kind of went through these and hand-picked the ones that I thought would be the most pertinent. Can you do more problems? Absolutely. You can do all the problems in the textbook if you want to, but these are ones I believe that you have the answers to in the textbook. So I'm going to go back to the content. So we've covered syllabus, schedule, textbook, suggested practice problems, and let's get on to the really important stuff. And if you go into the schedule found in the syllabus, it'll say that the first week, which begins on January 16th, is going to be the Chapter 10 week. And so whether it's the first week, January 16th, the second week, which is Chapter 11, January 22nd, the third week, which is January 29th, the fifth week, right? So on and so forth, okay? So as we see here, so for every week, for every chapter, I have a little blurb here that kind of summarizes some of the more important concepts that you're going to want to focus on, like in chapter 10, learning the functional groups. Then I have the lecture slides, and these are the lecture slides that I used on my YouTube videos. And so I have YouTube videos that cover the first few sections, then section 10.3, etc., etc. I have a whole video about nomenclature, functional groups, etc., etc. And then, of course, I have another link to the suggested practice problems there. So this is what you're going to want to do, is you're going to want to work through each one of these chapters every week in accordance with the schedule. So you want to follow the schedule very carefully. So here I am in the schedule that's found inside the syllabus, and you can see that week 1, you have, your first homework assignment is due. Second week, you have homework 11 is due, discussion 1, and I'll post an announcement about that. But you can see that each week we do a different chapter in the book, all the way from chapter 10 to chapter 23. Then we have various discussions and exams along the way. And of course, I'm going to post announcements each week, which kind of give you a little bit of a summary as to what we're going to be covering that week, or what you should be covering. After that, you find the lab schedule. And then, of course, like I said, you can complete the Getting Started in Laboratory Safety exercises, because you do not need a lab kit for those. The first lab that you need a lab kit, I believe, is going to be lab number 2, which isn't going to be until February 5th that week, the 5th to the 9th. The first lab, I don't believe that you need the lab kit for that one because it's simply drawing organic compounds. But again, you want to order that lab kit as soon as possible. And you can see that I even squeezed a spring break into our schedule. You know, something students always want to know is where am I going to get my grades from in this class? And you can see that we have a lecture portion and a lab component to this class. And for the lecture portion, like I said, there are something that we call the prep quizzes. And those have a value of 5% towards your overall grade. We have 13 homework assignments, so that's from chapters 10 through 23, and I'll talk more about that in a second. We have 5 discussions. So the homework and the discussions are worth 10% each. Your exams, you have a total of 5 exams as you saw in the schedule. I take your best 4 scores out of 5. That accounts for 30% of your grade, so that's a big portion of your grade. The final exam, which cannot be dropped, is going to make up 15% of your grade. Now, in the lab portion, there's something called the submission of proof of receipt of the lab kit, and I'll post an announcement about that, but it's very simple. All you have to do is once you get the lab kit, you post a little picture of the receipt and everything, and that's the way I know that you actually did order a lab kit. Then the getting started, laboratory safety, those are pretty fast. You can do those in probably under an hour, and those are worth a total of 4%, 2% each. And then there's 12 labs that are going to be on the Science Interactive website, and you're going to complete all of those on there. So again, Science Interactive, hands-on labs, it means the same thing. They've just used 2 different names over the past few years, and so they've both stuck. So again, if you look at all the different chapters here, you can see I have the starting dates of each one of the chapters on here. The lecture slides are posted as well. And then if you go down from there, you'll see that for each lab, I usually have a little blurb associated with that. And if it's a lab that I've completed, if we were to scroll down to lab 8, for example, you can see pictures that I've taken of myself and just little tips that I have about doing the labs. And so for each lab, I usually put some notes in there and some pictures of some things that I've done and some tips and tricks that will help you along the way. Now, in terms of our homework assignments and our prep quizzes, those are both found under the quizzes tab. So I'm going to go there right now. And so you can see your first assignment due in terms of quizzes and homework is going to be the Chapter 10 prep quiz, which is due on the 18th. It's open right now. Then you're going to have homework 10, then homework 11, etc., etc. And I don't see prep quiz 11. I haven't opened that up yet, but that will become available at the beginning of next week. So you can keep an eye on things in here by looking under the quizzes tab. Discussions, I'm going to get more into discussions later on. So I'm going to post an announcement about discussions probably tomorrow. Because you're going to have to post a little part in the discussion in the next couple of days because your initial post is going to be due on January 19th. Don't worry, it's nothing super complex for the first one. It's just kind of an introduction and a few comments on some things. So I'll post an announcement about that soon and what you have to do there. There's a lot of details about discussions that are found in the syllabus. So again, like I said, make sure to read the syllabus very carefully as it goes over discussions in detail. So again, our first discussion is about just introducing ourselves and talking about chemical safety. You can see our next one is not going to be until January 26th. So you see that we have a few discussions over the course of the semester. So I've gone over things like the prep quizzes, your homework, which are both found under the quizzes tab, discussions, exams, the lab, how you have to order a lab kit right away, how you're going to want to print out a copy of the schedule and the lab schedule so you can stay on top of things and be very organized in terms of your approach to studying organic chemistry, which is a difficult subject. Now, if you want to keep track of your grades, you click on the grades tab and you can see each one of the values and the weighting of each one of the portions. So we have our exams, which are worth 30%, homework 10%, labs 25%, the prep quizzes, chapter 10 prep quiz due very soon, the final exam, the getting started exercise, the lab safety, the proof of receipt of lab kit, and your discussions, and you see everything is laid out for you here hopefully quite clearly. So again, what you want to do is you're going to want to read through that syllabus and schedule immediately. You're going to want to create your account in Science Interactive or HOL and complete the Getting Started Laboratory Safety exercises. Now, before I get back into this announcement, I want to show you what the Science Interactive website looks like. It looks a little something like this. So when you log in and create your account, you'll see this thing here, Chemistry 1012, Front Range Community College. It has my name on it, and then you can click on it here. And if you look under lessons, you'll see all of the different labs that we're going to do throughout the semester. So everything is on there. And again, the main thing that you want to do right now is create your account, get the Getting Started in Lab Safety exercises completed, and then order your lab kit as soon as possible. So again, after you've created your account in HOL, you're going to want to complete the Chapter 10 prep quiz. Start reading the textbook. Again, you can watch the videos if you want to. You're not obliged to do that. Start working on suggested practice problems. Of course, email me if you're running into any issues with those. If you have any questions, complete the Chapter 10 homework. It's due on the 21st. And start working on those tasks today because Exam 1 is going to be open in 10 days from now, and it's going to cover Chapters 10 and 11. Now, just a little comment about Chemistry 1012 and taking a class online. I've taught online for about 8 years now, and students will sometimes think, oh, the class is online, how hard can it be? I'll just click a few buttons and, there you go. In fact, I would say that taking a course online has a complexity that is not found in in-person courses because it really puts the onus on the student to stay on top of things. If you're obliged to show up to a lecture in person, it takes a lot of effort to get in your car and drive to campus and sit down. And so usually students will take the time, even if they're not really interested in the material, they'll usually absorb something. But when you're online, it really puts the responsibility on the shoulders of the student to make sure that you sit down, set aside time to watch the videos, read the textbook, do the practice problems, make sure you know when everything is due. Make sure you complete it on time because I cannot accept any late work with the number of students we have in this course. Also, if you need help, make sure you reach out to me. Don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email is dan.dion@pikespeak.edu, and reach out to me with any course-related questions, any content questions, and I'd be happy to answer those. And so hopefully this helps you a little bit. So remember, this is a completely online course. And looking forward to getting to meet all of you in the discussions over the next few months and few days. And I really hope you will enjoy organic chemistry. Again, organic chemistry is a challenging subject, but it is a rewarding subject. And again, I'm kind of rambling here, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me.